This is Python's Paradise, and this is your host, Greg Gilbert, aka the Python Hyena. And folks, I have a wonderful return guest on this July 4th weekend, and my third guest today. Been very busy, but this one knows how to fight. I've had her on before, and I loved her then, and still love her now, folks. I give you, in my opinion, one of the greatest professional female wrestlers ever. Princess Victoria. How do you do, Princess Victoria?
I'm doing really good, Greg. That 20 to extra 20 I sent you got me a really good uh, invite here.
Yeah. Yeah, I gotta say, give a shout out to Velvet McIntyre because had it not been for her, I might not have discovered you.
Right,
Yep,
right, right.
because
That we
well,
go back and forth with that. People will find me who are looking for her, and people will find her who are looking for me. It's just the way it is.
well, they like you were retired before the WrestleManias and whatnot, and so until the internet, because Vince likes to make people believe that Hulk Hogan was the first to slam Andre the Giant. Well,
Uh,
Harley Race has a lot to say about that.
I was there when Harley slammed Andre, and
Yeah.
I didn't even know the name Hogan at that point.
Well, Harley Race did it without the steroids,
There you go.
and so did Antonio Inoki.
This is true. Yep. Yep. In fact, I was just watching, I just saw some of the pictures from that match the other day with Inoki and Andre.
Hmm. I didn't even know Kamala had slammed Andre.
Now, you schooled me on that one. No, I did not know Kamala did that.
Yep, Kamala picked him up as well. Um, Pretty impressive. There was a whole video. Actually, WrestleMania 3 wasn't even the first time Hogan did it. He did it at Showdown at Shea, 1980. So,
80.
yeah,
That must have been before. Was he Hulk Hogan there or was he
well, he
just
was he
Terry
was
Hogan?
he was managed by Classy Freddie Blassie at that time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
That was just before Hulkamania then.
yeah, that was just before Hulkamania. But I was a big Velvet McIntyre fan from that first Survivor series, and she did a move that I've only seen Ricky the Dragon Steamboat do since. That cross body where she spins around in circles as yeah, I've seen Steamboat.
Easily known as a spinning cross body block.
I
And
never seen it done until Velvet did it at Survivor Series.
right, right.
Yeah.
She perfected that move.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the first time I saw it was the first time I went to Japan,
Mm-hmm.
and Mimi Higawara did it on me. But Velvet, as tall as she is, and doing that spin, that's not easy for a taller person.
No. So I remember I wanted to get her on the show, and you had said to me that there's something with her hearing or whatnot, and I was down about that, but then I started looking you up. And I spent I don't know how many hours just watching you and Velvet in tag matches, and then I explored your solo matches, and I was like, okay, I want to have Princess Victoria come on here.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, there you go. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, I got tired of her kicking my tail in the single matches, so I made her my partner.
Yeah. Well, I got a question. Why do you have a Hulk Hogan poster in the background? I thought you didn't like him.
I can't stand him. This is not my room. Hang on a minute. Get up there. Ah! Well, shoot. The hot air keeps blowing out of the poster and blows the towel off.
Oh, well.
You know,
Talk about somebody who's so full of shit, Hulk Hogan.
right?
Yep.
Right? I have heard that he's kind of slowed down a little now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's kind of realizing that he is mortal.
Well, I remember he saying at a con, somebody asked if he could go back in time and wrestle anybody, who would it be? And he said that it'd be Bruno Sammartino for all the smack he said about him. And I'm like, Hogan, you wouldn't beat Bruno in a real fight. And
No,
he wouldn't beat Harley Race in a real fight. I had that debate online with one of these people that buys into it because
right?
Hulk Hogan was full of muscle. I'm like, and people took my side. No, Harley Race would have kicked Hogan's ass in a real fight.
Yes, because we're talking old school versus what, the Attitude Age? Is that what they called it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and if I were gonna pit Hogan against Harley, I'd make sure I had all my money on Harley,
Mm-hmm.
and it'd be about a 20-second match.
Yep. Yep.
And Bruno Sammartino, that
Mm-hmm.
might last 15 seconds because they're old school wrestlers. These
Yep.
guys, they come back from the day when I came back. Though one thing that Sandy taught me, he says, I don't care how big the person is, if a fan gets in that ring and you can't take him down and you can't take him out, you don't belong in the ring. And I kind of look at Hogan as a fan.
Speaking of which, you know what?
What?
I went to a Comic Con a few years ago, and boy, did I bring back a heavy load of stuff. Speaking of Bruno,
Oh my God.
I got a bunch of articulate figures stashed away because I'm kind of in between living spaces right now. But
Right.
I love these because you could throw these down a flight of stairs and they wouldn't break. I wish they'd keep making these.
Well, there is a company, it's a private company that will do them to order. When I remember who it is, I'll send you a link to it.
Yeah, yeah.
They have actually made those kind of for wrestlers, and they're like one of a kind,
Oh,
and they're
nice.
not inexpensive, from what I understand.
Oh, great. Because I would love to get more these type of wrestlers. I went through that Comic Con. I bought about a dozen of them, and I bought a
Right,
bunch. Of Somebody brought some to me from a flea market and sold them to me.
right.
Yeah, and one of my favorites. No kilt though. I got them. They
I
hard.
got the one like that with the kilt.
Yeah, it's hard to get them with the accessories. I've got three Terry Funks, not one of them with a hat or branding iron.
Oh, all right. There is a collectible store that I did a signing at a month or so ago
Mm-hmm.
in May 14th, 15th, and 16th. There's a store that I went to. He's got boxes of these figurines just sitting.
Oh
So
wow.
I might put you in touch. I'll get a hold of Nikki and I'll put you in touch with him. You guys might be able to do a little internet trading that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I love Roddy Piper. I got him. I had his daughter on for the third time this year.
Teal.
Teal, yeah.
Yeah.
I love her. For my birthday last year, I did a cameo with her. I sent her a cameo, and she did a Doubtfire face challenge for suicide depression awareness. And then that
Nice.
where she took a pie in the face.
Right.
And it was so funny because I that was one of my charities I ever since Robin Williams passed away.
Right.
And somebody, Scotty, actually suggested I should pitch it out to wrestlers on Cameo, but some of them are so expensive. But
Right.
Tori Wilson did it though.
Yeah.
Yeah, love Tori
Have you
Wilson.
contacted Taylor Hendricks?
Who's Taylor Hendricks?
Um, I'll send you a link. She is a retired professional wrestler.
Uh huh.
She does her podcast on the Triple H Brand Network. She's written 3 children's books, and now she's writing for a wrestling magazine. And
Okay.
she is a one of a kind. You will love her to death.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll put you in touch with her.
Okay. Another person I wouldn't mind getting in touch with, and I actually saw her real name on your Facebook and I've forgotten it, is Wendy Richter.
Right. She's not on Facebook much. Wendy's got a lot going on. I believe it's Weimaraners she raises, and
Okay.
they go to the what's the big dog show? Westminster.
I don't know.
There's a big worldwide dog show, and she takes first and second place all the time. She rescues animals, not just dogs or cats. She rescues horses, so on and so forth. Plus, she's a physical therapist, and it's not the kind where you go to her office. She comes to your house. Wendy is very, very busy and doing very well.
I love Wendy. She's the first female I've ever seen do cage matches.
I have not seen, I heard about that. I have not
They're
seen it.
online. They're on YouTube.
Okay. Well,
There's
then I
about
have no excuse.
there's about 3 of them. I know she fought somebody named Monster Ripper in one of them.
That she's from Japan. Yeah. Monster
Yeah.
Ripper. I've wrestled Monster Ripper in Japan.
Yeah.
That's no easy task.
Yeah. So Wendy, I have a lot of respect for,
Yes, sir.
But
We all do. Wendy's got a heart of gold. She was a fantastic wrestler. It wasn't a work. It wasn't like work when you were working with Wendy. It was like a day at the fair.
Except when she pulled your ponytails out.
Yeah, I know. It's like I opened the door with those ponytails. It's like, here, just flip me.
I love the ponytails.
So does everybody else.
But yeah, I got a bunch of these. The only one of these they did for females was Miss Elizabeth. I don't think they ever did a figure for Wendy or you or Velvet.
No, and at the very least, there should have been one with Sherry Martel.
Yes.
At the very least.
Sherry was awesome.
Yes.
Yeah, she could take, I seen her take bumps from Hulk Hogan.
Oh, and if you were in a bar fight and she was on the other side, just go out the door. Just turn around and leave, because you've already lost. Yeah. Sherry was a force. But what's funny is, as mean as she could be that nice too. I knew Sherry quite well. And she's the type of person that you could be standing in a blizzard and you could say you're cold and she would take the coat off her back and put it on you. That's just the type of person she was. Yeah. And it was very sad to lose her.
Yeah, I heard the story where she was supposed to do an angle of Miss Elizabeth where she's supposed to slap her, and she did not want to hit Miss Elizabeth. And finally, Miss Elizabeth just told her to go for it. And I think, according to what's been said online, Vince was pushing for that.
Of course.
And I'm like, why not just haul off and slug Vince McMahon? Vince McMahon, I'm just going to say it. He's, excuse my language, but he's a fucking pussy. Bret Hart proved it.
No, do not insult pussy by calling him a pussy.
Bret Hart punched him out. Bad News Brown and Nails both choked the shit out of him to the point now he has to have people around him.
He's you've heard this from me before. I cannot stand the man. I have no respect for him. I have no use for him. The things that he has done, and recently I started catching up on some of the WWE stuff from back when I quit watching. And the stuff like putting a man's face in his butt crack. Really?
Yep.
What purpose does that serve except to degrade that wrestler? What he did with Adrian Adonis. Like I said, I've been doing some catching up because I quit watching after that Kuwait thing.
Yeah, I've got an Adonis figure here. Oh,
Please tell me it's got the black leather jacket on and not makeup. That's 80.
I'll say one thing though. He did the gimmick well compared when Terry Taylor became the Red Rooster. his
Uh,
career was done. At
right.
least Adonis made this work.
That's the way 80 was. It didn't
Yep.
matter what job you, and I knew 80, 80 and Pipe were friends.
Mm-hmm.
He tagged up with Ron Starr when I first started watching wrestling here in Portland.
Yep.
And the black jacket and all that. And then when he turned heel, it just kept going. And I agree with you that he did his part well.
Yep.
But that's the type of person he was. It is, if you can't do it right, don't do it at all. And he did it well.
Yeah.
But what was the sense in taking 80 from who he was for 20 some years to what Vince did? And it's not just 80, it's wrestler after wrestler. I used to think, until I started watching all this stuff on WWE, that he was just degrading women. It wasn't. He degraded everybody around him.
Oh, he turned Tony Atlas into Saba Simba, some guy that carried a spear and a headdress to the ring, and I'm like, it's Tony Atlas.
Everybody knows who Tony Atlas is.
But yeah.
Well, and see, what Vinny did is, when he turned these people like Tony into Suba Simba or whatever it was, he copyrighted their name. I'm sure Tony Atlas was not going to sign a piece of paper that gave Vinny the rights to the name Tony Atlas.
Nope.
So that's why he changed him to X, so that he could copyright the character and the gimmicks, so Tony couldn't use it anywhere else. Not that he would want to.
Vince is a prick. He really is a prick. I like this guy.
Is that Ricky?
Yeah, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat.
Yeah.
Heard Hulk Hogan was a bit nervous because this guy was gaining as much popularity as Hogan.
Gee, imagine that.
Yeah.
Ricky Steamboat doing that. That would be like Jimmy Snuka getting more famous than Hogan.
Yeah. Steamboat, no, Ricky, I love to watch. Yeah.
Yeah. Ricky is and was a hell of a wrestler.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But, I got a bunch of these in here.
I see that. You're getting into your toy box.
I am. I got a bunch.
Oh my. Is that George?
That's George the Animal Steel.
Oh my God. They did well on that one. With the tongue and all, they did well with that one.
Oh yeah. Always liked George.
George, yes. Oh my God. Have you got George Clooney in there anywhere?
I don't. I got somebody just as good though.
Really?
Yeah.
Who?
Oh, come on. Isn't this as good as George Clooney? It's the Irish
Sheik, right?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I put George Clooney in the camel clutch and make him humble.
You fucking jabroni.
When he's on the Howard Stern show, it is gold.
Oh, I haven't listened to it. I'll have to pull it up.
Oh, frig. Howard gets him going.
Oh, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. Sure. Oh, he hates the killer bees. I know that.
What's really funny is he went there for a while and he was all over Brian Blair, and you said this and you said that and you did that. Then he comes out, says, well, I found out it wasn't you. I apologize. And then 2 weeks later, he's back to fucking jabroni, Brian Blair.
Here's another one of my favorites.
Jakey.
Jake.
I just saw a picture of him the other day.
Yeah.
And he's been with, he's gone through a lot with Diamond Dallas Page and all that. He looks so good. Yeah. He has lost 15 years off his face and his body. He looks just absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that Page got a hold of him.
I'm glad
we probably wouldn't have him today if he had.
Page got hold of him and Scott Hall and really turned them around. Jake apparently, some point in the, speaking of the Hogan Steamboat thing, Jake had an angle where he DDT'd Hogan in the snake pit. And because the fans cheered Jake, they nixed the angle. And
See,
Jake,
right there, they were told. Right there, it was laid right out there. Let's do what the fans want. Only let's put a tweak on the angle. Let's turn him heel. Let's turn Hogan heel. Let's turn Jake babyface.
yep. So people cheered Jake, and Jake was saying, who cares who the fans are cheering for? It's about putting asses in seats, but
He's absolute. It doesn't matter who. That old saying holds so true to wrestling. It doesn't matter whether you win or lose. It's how you play the game. Have you put the asses in the seats? Have you given those people their money's worth?
here's a George Clooney.
Orndorff?
Yeah, Mr. Wonderful. Apparently, he's not doing well right now.
No, I saw some the other day. He is not doing well at all.
Yeah,
At all. And we just lost Del Wilkes, the Patriot.
I didn't know that.
We lost him last Thursday. He died of a heart attack. Totally unexpected. No health issues, nothing. He just literally dropped dead of a heart attack.
Yeah.
But Paul, I saw somebody was with Paul and did a short 1 minute clip of him, and no, Paul's not doing well at all.
No.
Of course, we're all getting up there in age. And unfortunately, the way that what we've put our bodies through is, it's coming home to tell.
Yeah. Well, we lost Kamala not during COVID too.
Yes, I know.
Yeah.
And then we lost
I got a Kamala.
Melissa Coates.
Yeah. I got a Kamala. Wow. I always liked Kamala.
He was a very nice man.
Yeah.
He was a very, very, believe it or not, I know what you've seen in wrestling, but he was a very, very nice man.
I know. Seen clips online of him doing interviews and stuff, like on podcasts and stuff. Just a nice guy.
Right.
Ah, look at this one.
Hey, Randy.
Ooh, yeah.
Where's my beef jerky?
He needs to get you some beef jerky.
Right?
Yes. Yeah, this one was good. I got a whole bag of these. I'm only going to show a few of them, but
a few more, you mean?
Well, you said Portland wrestling. You must know this guy.
Turn it towards. Is that Butch?
That is Billy Jack Haynes.
Billy Jack Haynes. I couldn't see the face. I was looking for the beard. I just saw Billy a couple years ago at a signing. And this is a shout out to everybody. Billy went down to be with Rip Oliver when Rip Oliver was sick and passed. None of us have heard from you, Billy, since you were there. How about doing a little dropping a dime, call those 10 digits?
Yeah.
People are worried about you, brother.
Oh, yeah. And of course, we mentioned this guy.
Stant? I can't see the face.
It is Terry Funk.
Oh, Jesus. That's not Terry's chest was never that big.
Oh, this is the new and improved Terry.
Right?
Terry.
Yeah. Terry's a great guy. I did some road tours, some shots that he was on. Terry was always a really, really nice man. He's another one that's not doing well.
No, he's not. But boy, oh boy, he wrestled until he couldn't anymore.
Yep. Well, did you hear about Marty Jannetty?
What happened to Marty Jannetty?
There's something good finally.
What?
He had a doctor who did both his ankles pro bono. He went through rehab. He's back to the old Marty Jannetty.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Because he got screwed on the rockers end. 'Cause I never liked Shawn Michaels after he blew his nose on our flag and stomped on it and spit on it and whatnot. How what? How?
There's no sense in doing that kind of stuff.
Yep.
That's what we in the business call cheap heat.
Yep. And of course, I got another guy I know you love.
Andre. Me, I'm staying with some friends of mine. Tex Thompson used to wrestle here in the Pacific Northwest.
Okay.
That's why the Hulk poster is over here. I had to put an air conditioner in the window because of all the hot air that's coming out of the poster.
Well, Hulk Hogan was full of hot air.
Oh God, still is. But Tex was telling a story. Andre was the first one who ever gave him his first beer.
Oh yeah, I can believe that.
And this was back in the Lonnie Main days.
Mm-hmm.
And see, Tex grew up in the business just like I did. And he'd sweep the floors, break down the ring, tear it up, put it back up again. And then he became a wrestler, a promoter. He's done everything. And Andre was in a mood one night and he said, "Kid, have you had a drink yet?"
Mm-hmm.
No. He said, "Well, here's your first beer for me." And Lonnie Main's sitting across the table and Lonnie is stewing because Andre is giving the kid beer.
Well, remember Andre, WrestleMania 1, scooping up Big John Studd and that body slam.
Oh, God, yeah.
Drop Studd, the furthest Studd's ever come down. Yeah, and I know you know this guy, too, and he's no longer with us.
Is that Junkyard Dog?
That is the Junkyard Dog.
Hey, Sly. He was a good man. Good man, great wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
He had the trifecta. You know, he had it all.
Yeah.
And Bill Watts took good care of his boys, too.
Yeah. Yeah, I have got so many of these in here. I got King Kong Bundy in here, Greg the Hammer Valentine, Hillbilly Jim, Tito Santana. I even got Outback Jack.
Oh my God. Wow. What, no Kiwis, no sheep herders?
They didn't have those.
Did they not?
No, the brand was done in 1989. I'm going to slowly file these in this bag, but the brand was just done in 1989, and there was just, I gotta show King Kong Bundy, of course.
Oh my God. What a trip.
I remember WrestleMania 3 where he body slammed the little beer, dropped the elbow on him. I heard
that
Bundy
had
was,
to be that.
Yeah, I love these figurines because they, you could just, like I said, you could throw these down a flight of stairs and not hurt them,
Well, they're like the old Stretch Armstrongs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
only way that you could do anything with them was burn them, and then they wouldn't go completely away. The blob was still there.
Oh yeah. Well, the funny thing is that some of them, of course, can be chewed up. I got 3 Terry Funks, for example. 2 of them have the face chewed up, like somebody's dog got hold of them before they were sold to me, and I just kind of pass it off as Terry's had one too many barbed wire matches.
Right. And I'm sure he would agree. My friend, like I said, I'm staying with my friends Tex Thompson and Shannon.
Uh-huh.
And he hit me with a new saying that I hadn't thought of. You've heard of old timers, Alzheimer's, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He says it's chair timers. We've been hitting the head by too many chairs.
Yeah. Well, you know what? That is part of the problem. And of course, Vince McMahon does not give a shit.
Oh, no, not as long as you're putting $1 in his pocket.
No.
And if you're not putting $1 in his pocket, he don't give a shit anyway.
No. I'll let you gaze at the Iron Sheik one more time before I put him away.
Thank you so much. That just made my whole day.
Yeah, you don't need George Clooney when you got the Iron Sheik. The Iron Sheik. Oh man. No, but yeah, I had a bunch of these. I thought I gotta dig these up. It's sad because I would have loved to have gotten some of the like. I've got ones in a closet over there where you can articulate and move them,
Right.
and they have Moolah done like that, but they never did Wendy Richter. They never did you. They never did Velvet McIntyre.
Well,
You
I can
know.
understand why they didn't do me because I was only there. I mean, I made it to just before the first WrestleMania 1. You know, I broke my neck September of '84. I was
Mm-hmm.
only in the business. I was only a wrestler actually for maybe 4.5 years. But
Mm-hmm.
Velvet, Judy Martin, Leilani Kai, you know, Wendy, she was Sheba. You know,
Leilani Kai.
there should have been a Wendy Richter, Cyndi Lauper set
I
because
love Wendy.
that was the moment that women's wrestling took on a whole new curve.
Yep.
And there for a couple of years, it was really, really good. And then Vinny got a hold of it.
Leilani Kai did 2 WrestleManias. She lost to Wendy Richter in the first one, and she
Right,
lost to Alundra Blaze / Medusa in the 10th one.
right,
Yep.
right.
I don't understand why they didn't have Wendy versus Moolah at WrestleMania. You would think that would have been a better headliner, but
Hadn't let's see. Wendy by WrestleMania 1, didn't Wendy already have the belt?
no, she took it off of Leilani Kai.
I thought she took it off of Moolah.
She did take it off of Moolah, but at the war to settle the score between Hogan and Piper, um, Moolah had Leilani Kai take it off of, with outside interference, take it off of Wendy, and then Wendy took it back at WrestleMania.
Okay,
Yeah.
there you go. There
Yeah.
you go. And like I said, even if it wasn't me, Velvet, it should have been Judy and Leilani as the Glamour Girls. It should have been Wendy with Cyndi Lauper. Velvet was there. Velvet was on top. I mean, very few people know that Velvet held the women's title. She took it from Moolah in Australia.
I know.
Held it for a week.
I think she took it from Sherry at one point too.
Yeah, her and Sherry had a few matches.
Mm-hmm.
Now you want to see two workers work? Watch Sherry and Velvet.
Mm-hmm.
They're like music together, you know,
Yeah.
and you don't see that very often. You saw it with Velvet and I in our singles matches. You saw it when we tagged up. But the way that Sherry and Velvet worked, it was magic, you know.
Yeah. So you don't have darts in that room where you can just throw it at the Hogan poster?
I really like my friend Tex Thompson. Or believe me, I would have already turned the brats, you know, Shadow and Sunny. I would have already fed them a meal. You should have seen his face when I went. We just had record heat here last week.
Mm-hmm.
Sunday, a week ago today, it was 116 degrees in Portland, Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
That's never heard of. And I walked down and I hadn't paid any attention because a lot of things have been going on the last month. And I happened to open my door and my eyes hit that blasted thing over there in the corner. I turn around, I walk back downstairs. I said, I'll tell you exactly what's wrong. I said, all that hot air from that poster is cooking the state of Oregon. We need to get rid of it. But he's not only is he a wrestler, as a lot of us are, he's a collector.
Mm-hmm.
And he better be glad he's my brother and I love him and his wife, because I'd have fed that to the dogs already.
Yeah, I'm not a Hogan person. To me, Bruno Sammartino was the greatest champion.
Yes.
Yep, I think
a true a working man's champion.
Yep. And he,
And we're getting my friend Tex and his wife, they own a promotion up here.
mm-hmm.
We're getting ready to go back to work in October.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And at least you guys didn't have to sleep with the boss's daughter like Triple H to get ahead in the business. And I don't care who argues with me. When Triple H got flattened by the Ultimate Warrior at WrestleMania 12 in split seconds, he did not have the arms he has now. And Vince, he can argue all he wants. They can call out steroids on other people, but there's like three fingers more pointing back at them.
Well, I remember Vinny, and I'm sure you've heard me say that. I remember Vinny when he was a pencil neck geek.
Mm-hmm. As Classy Freddie
My
would say.
neck at that time was 13 inches, and his was smaller than mine. And he was running behind Piper and Hogan like a lost puppy dog.
Mm-hmm.
He was not the size he is now. The only way you get that size is steroids.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
But Vince will have you believe that he did that on his own. Bullshit.
Bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
I call bullshit.
Yeah.
I worked out. Sandy worked me and Velvet to the bone when we were wrestling. We were lifting weights. We were doing squats. We were running cardio. We were doing the Harvard bridges. You can only get so big naturally.
Mm-hmm.
You don't blow up unless there's something behind it.
Exactly.
So, and he just needs to, he needs to shut up.
Yeah.
Because one of these days, somebody's going to snatch his bedroom window curtain open, and it's all going to be spilled.
I imagine after his passing, stuff's going to come out.
Yeah, it's kind of like dealing with the Clintons, right?
Or even Pat Patterson. I mean, that whole thing with the Ring Boy scandal.
Yep.
Yep. Pat Patterson, Mel Phillips, Terry Garvin. The stories are out there. I'm not the one.
Did you watch the Maury Povich show?
I did.
Where Barry Orton, a very good friend of mine.
Mm-hmm.
He just passed away a few months ago. He told him straight up. He said, "I'm up here. I'm exposing what's going on with these children. This should not be happening. And I am telling you right now, and you'll remember when he said, I'm telling you right now, I will never wrestle again after today. But I can't keep this secret any longer." And who else was on there? Wasn't Armstrong on there? There were 5
I don't remember.
wrestlers.
I know there was one that Bruno did a call in on.
Bruno.
Yep.
Bruno was on there. Bob Orton was on there. There were 3 other wrestlers on there.
And I know superstar Billy Graham had a lot to say against Vince on that too.
Well, it's the old crap from generations back. Let's keep the family secret a secret.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's how come it keeps going on. It needs to be exposed.
Mm-hmm.
Madison Miles, a female wrestler, just exposed in the last year what happened to her with an older wrestler. She was 15, he was 27. I'm sorry, you're 27 years old. What the hell are you doing with a 15-year-old kid? He beat her. He basically kidnapped her, kept her from leaving his house. And many more things that I can mention. And Madison brought it out. And there's other stories that are circulating, even some about some people that are friends of mine. And I was quite definitely shocked. But I got some emails that were sent to me that, it's time for this crap to stop. Just because you're a promoter or a booker doesn't mean that I have to sleep with you to get in that ring. I mean, and you're going to give me a hot dog and a Coke as a payday? Are you kidding me? But I've heard a lot since, and I'm pretty open. Have you gotten my book yet? No.
Oh, it hasn't arrived yet.
No, that's because it's sitting right up Here. See? It's right here, Greg.
Oh, there you go.
I'm mailing it Monday with the shirt and the pictures.
I'm gonna do an unboxing video on it too.
Oh,
Oh
nice.
yeah, I do that when I get stuff in the mail. So
Thank you.
yeah.
Well, I'm fair warning. First few chapters are rough. And you'll know when you read those first few chapters why I am so against keeping these secrets. It's time to put them out. I told my mother 4 times what was happening to me. And I was beat into submission to saying no, it didn't actually happen.
Oh.
By my mother. Well, she's not my mother. She's a petri dish I was formed in. But being a pedophile it's not like a working girl, quote unquote hooker. It's not like a dancer, a victimless crime.
Mm-hmm.
You're destroying a child's innocence. You're taking that away from them. You're putting them in a black space where, and I speak from experience, I tried to kill myself more than 5 times when I was a kid.
I'm glad you didn't.
Well, I went to a wrestling match and everything changed. At 14, none of the guys in that dressing room touched me, but I was little sister. From the moment I went to work for Sandy, you didn't mess with me. And it wasn't that I was all that tough. You had to deal with Buddy Rose, Roddy Piper, Ed Wiskowski, Sandy Barr. Sandy would rip your head off. He told, I just found out last year, there was a wrestler who had his eye on me when I first went up there. Sandy told him point blank, you stay the hell away from her. And we have good guys, really 99.9% of the guys and gals in this business are wonderful people. But you got that 1%. You got that Pat Patterson with that 10-year-old boy in his back seat. And
Did you hear the
they have to
story?
be.
Did
Go
you
ahead.
hear the story recently that came out? I knew it from Beyond the Mat, but about Grizzly Smith and because Jake the Snake is his son, and so is Sam Houston, and Rockin' Robin is his daughter.
Right.
Did you hear
I got a little whisper. Smarten me up.
Yeah, Grizzly Smith. I guess Jake's mother was 13 or 14 when when Jake was born. And
I'm
a lot
glad
of
we have Jake. I'm
mhm
sorry that we got him in that way.
mhm.
And I have met Grizzly Smith, had met him in the past. It's the old saying, you'd have never thought he'd have done that. He was such a nice guy.
That's what everybody was saying too. Like Jim Cornette spoke about it, and he did not even know. And I know Don Morocco had no idea, and a lot of people had no idea this was going on. I know that Rockin' Robin, she came out of this really well.
Yes.
And I know that she gave, according to her interview, she gave her father a warning when he showed up one time with an underage girl. He wasn't going to let that girl go with her father.
Love you, Robin.
Yeah.
Love
So
you.
yeah.
Well, see, a similar incident when we were wrestling in Eugene for Elton Owen. As me, Velvet, and the whole crew, Rip Oliver. I don't have to name them all again. We all know who was there. And I got a phone call. Elton Owens calls me in the office and says, you got a phone call from your mother. Yeah, what's going on? I figured, something was really wrong for her to call me at the matches. No, your stepdad is coming to see you. He wants to talk to you. I hung up the phone. I didn't say a word. I hung up the phone. I walked back in the dressing room and see, I hadn't told anybody about my childhood. That was kept here. I'm sure a lot of some people got an idea why the hell is a 14-year-old kid out on her own with her own apartment working, 40 hours a week. There had to be a reason. And I walked back in the dressing room, and Rip Oliver looked at me and he said, "Princess, what's wrong?" I said, "Nothing." He said, "Bullshit, what's wrong?" And it was louder than what I just said. And I sat down and I started crying. I was terrified. I hadn't seen this man at that time since he went to jail when I was 12.
Mm-hmm.
And I was 19. And I'd had 7 years, but I was put right back in that place. So I understand where Robin is. And all of a sudden, and this will tell the story about my life with wrestling. All of a sudden, Velvet and I's single match went from a single match to a mixed tag match, and each tag team had male managers on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
I was told before I walked out in the ring by Rip Oliver himself, he said, "Vicky, you just point him out." He said, "And then you turn your pretty little head away."
Did he get his ass handed to him?
He lived because he did not show. But within 1 minute of me, and I started telling, I did a short story of my childhood. And within 10 minutes of me taking that phone call, walking in the dressing room, everything had changed. All of a sudden, I was protected. And see, that's the way 99% of the people in this business are. Like I said, you've got that 1% out there. You've got those assholes, that think just because a 13-year-old girl has got lipstick on and wants your autograph and a smile on it, she's grown. No, she's not. She's 13. Give her time to grow up.
Yeah. No, that is really unfortunate, and I've been following a lot of this because I know I was watching a documentary, especially on the Ring Boy scandals, and
Right.
it was I know it was difficult for various people, Roddy Piper, Barry Orton, and people
Yep.
like that were having a hard time. Like even
17. Roddy Piper was 17 years old. Are you kidding me?
I heard about Lord Alfred Hayes.
Oh, did you hear about Pat Patterson?
What happened?
The exact details will never be known, but to say the least, Patterson had his way. From what I understand, there is an interview with Piper on YouTube.
I think I've seen it. He looks very uncomfortable answering.
And when he turns into a totally different, turns right back into a child, doesn't he? And very scared and very apprehensive.
Oh,
Don't you want to dig him up now and kill him again?
yeah. Well, I know he's told stories about Lord Alfred Hayes, and there was one of those interview things where Piper gives Lord Alfred Hayes a smack in the face. Now, I said to my brother, "How much you want to bet that was not that
was a shoot?"
Yeah.
Well, did you see where Roddy got in the ring with Vince Russo?
Yeah.
And got right nose to him and said, "Did you kill my cousin?"
And I've heard so many nice things about Owen Hart. So many nice things.
Owen was a doll baby. He was a hell of a worker. He was the people's choice. He had no ego. All the Hart boys, Bruce, all of them. I spent time in Calgary more than once. I was always treated not like a princess, like a queen up there. They took care of us. Stu turned us over to the boys. The boys took care of us. We had a ball, and there's a really strange story that I heard the other day about Owen, and it really, the story was that when the harness broke and Owen was falling, he screamed down to the referee, "Move!"
Oh,
Now, if it's true or not, I wasn't there. Only the
I've
people that
heard
went.
that before too.
Yeah. Even though I mean, you can't fall that far and think you're going to live. Even though he knew he was dying, he got somebody else out of the way. There's Owen Hart.
Yeah. No, I sometimes put in my headphones a long 20-minute spiel that Jim Cornette does on Vince Russo. And I'll tell you that he ends it with he would like to take a baseball bat and bash his brains in to the point where his brain splattered like a hand grenade going off in a jello factory. And I'm like,
Oh, damn.
where does Jim Cornette come up with these?
Yeah, he's been watching way too many adventure movies, that's for sure.
Oh, I'm going to tell you, Jim hates Vince Russo with a passion. And you know what?
And it's not a gimmick. He really hates him.
Here's the thing, Vince Russo turned wrestling into a sideshow.
Yep.
Yep.
But Vince Russo may have turned it into a sideshow, but Vince McMahon had the last say.
Yes, he did.
So you can't blame Vince Russo unless you blame the top man who said, okay, go ahead and do it.
Yep. I don't even know what's going on. I got to admit today, I have a lot of respect for the women's wrestling. I think Charlotte Flair is amazing.
It's getting better.
Yeah.
It's getting better. And you're not seeing the cookie cutter, body style to where damn well if she hits you, you're just going to stand there and grin at her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well,
they've actually got meat on their bones. They've got the athletic body, not this runway model starvation body.
Charlotte looks like she could hurt you.
Well, so does Ronda Russo.
Ronda Rousey. Yeah.
Rousey, that's it.
Yeah, do you see that where she flipped Triple H there? Even though that was a work, she could have killed Triple H.
Well, how many arms did she break in the MMA?
I don't
or
know.
Ultimate, was it MMA or Ultimate Fighting? How many bones did she break in that business? I'm not going to tell her she's not good.
Oh, I think Ronda's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, and Colt has stood by and said, yes, Piper did give her the okay.
Piper gave her the okay.
That was not a gimmick. Piper gave, and for Piper to put his name on anybody, male or female, they had to be good.
Yeah. Yeah, I've had Colt on here and I've had Ariel on here. I've had Ariel on here 3 times. I'm still in touch with her.
Nice.
And I actually, she did a Doubtfire Face challenge last year for my birthday, and I actually sent another cameo today because I asked her if she'd do another one and I'd donate to one of her charities in return. She was like, sure.
Nice.
So
and thanks for the Doubtfire thing. The first time you said it, I didn't get it, but then it was okay, I got it.
Yeah, I got a video of Ariel. She took a pie in the face, and I thought it was great. But I felt, here's the thing, the cameo ran out, and she still did it. I thought was so cool. But last Christmas, I sent her another cameo. And I did this because, well, she's such a sweetheart. I just wanted to send her some support. And I said to her, I want you to tell me what Christmas was like in the Piper house growing up. And I asked her, because she also sings, so I asked her if she'd sing some Christmas songs.
Nice.
And she did.
There you go.
She is awesome. She wrestles for ARW, or it's not AEW. her fiance is Damos. Um,
You got me on that one, brother.
yeah.
Like I said, about the last month or so, things have been up in the air with me. I haven't been online, as I'm sure you've noticed, that often. I get online about every 2 or 3 days, and it's basically, okay, email 340. No.
Was one of those emails Vince McMahon asking you to come back to the company?
When that happens, you better open the door to hell, because the devil has got icicles on his beard.
Well, tell me, when you were there, did you see any inkling of anything about Pat Patterson, Mel Phillips, or Terry Garvin? Of
No,
anything like
because
that?
I'd have done something.
Mm-hmm.
It may have been wrong, but I would have done something. Too many people kept their mouths shut where I was concerned. And anytime that I have seen something, my favorite saying is err on the side of the child. You know, I would rather be wrong and have done it, turned them in, than be right and not have done anything. No, I didn't see any of that. Believe me, there would have, I'd have either been in jail for murder, or there'd have been at the very least some broken bones, because that's something I went through it as a child.
Mm-hmm.
And these people who come up in court, these are my favorite people. Oh, well, I did it because it was done to me. How many times have you heard a pedophile on the stand? That's his excuse, or her excuse. Now, see, that's something else. It's not just a male who can be a pedophile. Females are pedophiles too. A lot of guys go, oh yeah, my boy got his teacher when he was 15. That was rape. This is not something to celebrate. This kid should have had his first time with somebody his own age, go through the fumbly thing, whatever. But that was rape in my eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And if I had seen anything to that at all, because I know what I went through, and that's you get so dark because you're stuck. It's not over tomorrow. It's going to happen again. So anytime you hear a kid say, please err on the side of the child, please.
Here's the
They
thing.
say 1 out of 4 cases is reported.
Mm-hmm.
1 out of 4 homes has a child in it that was reported to have been raped by someone they know. Then there's the other ones that go unreported. So we're talking over 50% of children are sexually and mentally abused by someone they know. It's not a total stranger. This is the coach. This is their teacher, and what it does to your brain. No, you got to err on the side of the child.
And with the way society is today, Pat Patterson had a book out celebrating the fact that he was the first apparently gay wrestler. Which
bullshit.
Fine.
Chris Colt came out as gay before Pat Patterson did.
But of course, if you come on to him about the Ring Boy scandal, you're labeled a homophobic.
No. Pedophilia has nothing to do with being gay or lesbian.
Exactly.
Pedophilia is this asshole here wanting power over this small person right here. It actually has nothing to do with sex. It is a power thing.
And apparently,
so and no, Pat, it's not that I don't like you because you're gay. I don't like you because you're a pedophile. It has nothing to do with your sexual orientation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I always saw that as being hid behind. They were celebrating Pat Patterson for this or that. And I'm like, I find it funny, you hear about Chris Benoit being attacked a lot, and for good reason. But I'm like, there should be a little more aim on Pat Patterson, I think.
I agree 100%. The day he died, I posted on my page. I'm not sure if you saw it or not. Sorry, not grieving, celebrating one more predator off the face of the earth.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yep.
and a lot of people like Pat Patterson.
Yeah,
I
Vince
wonder
did.
how much they would have liked him if it had been their child in that back seat with him.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty sure when Vince passes, there's going to be a lot of skeletons come out of the closet for him.
Yeah, and Epstein committed suicide.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, there's going to be a whole lot. I still want a one-on-one with him to discuss how he could go before Congress, and him and Stephanie could lie both bald face to Congress and say, no, we've never seen a wrestler with a life-altering or career-altering injury.
Bullshit on them.
Start with Owen Hart.
Yep.
Look at me. I was going down a list and I can't think of the names right now. I need to write them down. There were at least 3 guys who were in tag teams who tagged out and sat down on the corner post and died right there.
How about the Dynamite Kid?
Yeah.
Although
did he die in the ring?
he didn't die in the ring, no. Dynamite Kid though got an injury as a result of wrestling though.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Roddy Piper was wrestling with a broken neck and didn't know it until he went to the doctor and got an x-ray.
Actually, Bruno Sammartino did the same thing.
Right.
Yep.
And I can't count the amount of times that me or one of the other girls, you sprain your ankle to where your ankle is this big around. And what do? You put a little mentholatum on it, some icy hot. You wrap it in a plastic wrap. You wrap it in a Band-Aid. You put on your boot. You lace up your boot as tight as you can get it, so you can't feel it. And you go out to the ring and you do your job. And that was on a monthly basis.
Mm-hmm. No, I don't like what wrestling is now. I find, especially some of the stuff they were doing during the pandemic. Let's talk about this. I'm a cleaner. That's what I do for money. I'm a janitor. I do this because I enjoy it. I'm an essential worker.
Right.
But I love the fact that Vince McMahon in the WWE, I don't know who they fucking paid off, but they got labeled essential workers.
Donald Trump.
Oh, that makes sense. They love each other.
He was in office at the time.
Essential workers, my ass.
Right. No. And then what did he do? Is her name Lita?
Oh, I love Lita. The wrestler Lita?
The female wrestler Lita, she didn't want to wrestle during this pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
He said either wrestle or you're fired. Vinny said either wrestle or you're fired.
Well, first off, I bet she could kick his. Vince, again, I'm just going to say, he couldn't beat his way out through a wet paper bag. And if somebody responds to this and say, you couldn't beat him, well, you know what? I know one thing. I wouldn't have to have steroids. I know that.
Well, the thing about steroids is when you get so big,
mm-hmm.
then you can't move. So you just kind of get on your tippy toes and just keep smacking him right in the face. Bounce back and slap him again.
I would, if somebody said Vince McMahon was coming for me, I would not worry a whole lot about it.
I would not lose 1 minute's sleep.
Nope.
I'd start making bets on myself.
I don't think Vince is tough. I think he likes to put that picture out there, but I don't think he's tough. They say Shawn Michaels has changed his ways, but had Vince been smart, he would have kept Bret Hart and got rid of Shawn.
Yep.
Yep. And
Yep. I
yeah,
totally agree.
yeah, and of course, I'm sorry for anybody that defends Triple H, but I think most people who are smart know how he got ahead in the game, and
Right.
it wasn't through hard work and working out.
Nobody gets ahead in Vinny's world by working hard and working out.
And
There's always something else going on in the background
yeah,
because there's too many people who have been pushed up through the ranks to the top. And I'm not just talking about the women, I'm talking about the men too, that should have never even come off the first match. They should have always been on the first match. They should have always been a warm up. And then all of a sudden they're in the main event. And you're going, wait a minute, how the hell did they get there? You know, who did they beat to get there? Nobody. They just went from one day they were the first match, now they're main event.
and for me, the wrestlers I always liked to watch were not the big guys. I always liked watching Ricky Steamboat,
Yep.
Bret Hart, Kurt Hennig,
Yep.
you know, Jake the Snake, of course, you know. And if I go with bigger guys, I go with somebody like George the Animal Steel, who's
Right.
generally entertaining. But I watch a lot of wrestling on YouTube from the 70s and the 80s.
Right.
You know, like you get the best out of Andre the Giant, for example. I never seen him any better than when he wrestled in the 70s against Harley Race and Stan Hansen. I
Right.
think those were his two greatest opponents he had.
I agree.
Yep, and
I agree. But the days of Sergeant Slaughter, Stan Hansen, Terry Funk,
mhm.
they're gone. You know, these were individuals who you could separate from the crowd. Now it seems like everybody's got the same gimmick or no gimmick at all, or they've stolen their gimmick from somebody else.
Oh, here's
You know,
something weird. Like for me, had it been up to me, it would have been better. But when they still did WrestleMania in an empty arena for the pandemic, I would have let the wrestlers go home because I mean they've got the WWE had lots of money. They weren't starving, you know.
right,
What I probably would have done with the 2020 WrestleMania is I would have looked at where it started. Hulk Hogan was the champion. So I would have looked at every opponent Hulk Hogan had through the WrestleManias. He did WrestleMania 1 through 9, and then he was there for 18 and 19. And I would have taken all of his opponents and I would have found matches. I would have still had WrestleMania, but I would have did something different. And I
right.
would have had all of his opponents. I would have had every one of his opponents. I would have picked a match that wasn't on an event, and it would have been a match that the opponents won, and
Right.
I would have highlighted them. Like I'd have WrestleMania 1 where Hogan and Mr. T took on Piper and Orndorff. I would have
Well,
had Piper in a match where he beat somebody, Orndorff in a match where he beat somebody, and uh, and I
that's
would,
basically what ROH did.
yep.
RO and it was very entertaining to me,
Mm-hmm.
which it's not easy to entertain me. I'm old and I'm cranky.
Mm-hmm.
But I was watching them and they would have one of the guys, Jay Lethal, say, and he'd be sitting there talking about how he got in the business and who was his trainer, the first match, and they go through the high spots in all the matches that he had up to COVID. But they were sitting there. There was no interaction because in 2020 we didn't know exactly what COVID-19 was. We
Mm-hmm.
weren't sure how bad it was going to get. But what they did really impressed me, and it was very entertaining, and it kept everybody safe.
Well, think of the card. Think of the card here. This is what I would have done. Hogan's WrestleMania 1 opponents. I would put the match where Piper beat Rick Rude in the steel cage. I'd
Right.
put that on there. I'd have the Paul Orndorff. I couldn't find the match where he beats Bobby Heenan. That would have been interesting after he fired Heenan.
Right.
King Kong Bundy, WrestleMania 2, one of his house show matches where he beats Hillbilly Jim. Andre the Giant, put the stretcher match where he beats Killer Khan.
Right.
You know, Randy Savage where he beats Jake the Snake. Ultimate Warrior where he beats Jerry the King Lawler.
Right.
Sergeant Slaughter in his boot camp match against the Iron Sheik.
Yep.
Sid Vicious, where I'm not sure who I'd put him against. Maybe the Mountie Jacques Rougeau. I don't know. Again, there's DiBiase and Mike Rotundo IRS at WrestleMania 9. DiBiase beating the Junkyard Dog, and
Right.
IRS beating the 1-2-3 Kid X-Pac. Yokozuna beating Earthquake, you know, and The Rock, if you can find him beating Triple H, that would be ideal. And of course, Hogan took on Vince McMahon in his last match at WrestleMania. I had the match where Vince took on Stephanie and beat her. And then I would end the pay-per-view with Hulk Hogan defending the belt in one of those house shows against Ric Flair.
Right.
Think of the card I just arranged.
Oh yeah, it's a hell of a card.
Yeah, and all the wrestlers would be out of the pandemic way.
Yeah.
Come on there and say, look, folks, this is how we're going to do WrestleMania this year.
Right.
The theme will be, of course, Hulkamania, because he was the champion, got that first one. And we'll end with Hulk Hogan, and we'll just celebrate all of his opponents. This year, I'm not sure what I would do or what I would have done with SummerSlam or whatnot, but I would have done something like that. And I think people would have loved it.
Well, like I said, ROH basically did that. They took each one of their people, men and women. They sat there. They had a short part where they were talking about their beginnings, who trained them, what their favorite match was, and then they had, a minute and a half highlight of 3 or 4 of their matches, their most pertinent matches. And I was sitting there. I was learning things. I was watching matches I'd never seen, which I'm sure 99% of the people who were watching it the same way. There was at least one match they hadn't seen. And they did exactly what you're talking about, and they kept their wrestlers safe. Yeah. Now, this year, what they've done is they've got an empty building, no fans, but they're having the matches, just like they would if the fans were there. Which, let me tell you what, a match like that, you've got to respect the guys who are doing it, because that is probably the hardest match you will ever wrestle, is a quiet match. And they kept me entertained the whole 2 years watching them on Saturday nights.
Did you see the whole thing where I thought this was funny? You know how they did it so there was like fans could pay and you could see their face in the stands?
Not only did I see that, but I heard from one of the guys who happens to be on my Facebook page. They thought by paying that $100 or $200 that they were going to be able to video watch the matches live. They had no idea the only thing they were paying for was to have their picture put up there on one of the seats.
Well, you know what was it backfired on WWE? I sent this link to my uncle, and his response was, "Gee, Vince, this was a smart move." You know what fans were doing?
Mooning.
They had one had Chris Benoit in one of the pictures. One of them had a Klan rally. And one of them had a terrorist beheading.
Oh my God.
I know that's serious, but I laughed my ass off. It's like people got in on this just to fuck with the WWE.
You would think they would have had a 2 or 3 second delay
I
to give
laughed.
somebody time enough to check out what they were putting on. Yeah, I heard all about that.
I thought that was so funny.
Do not underestimate how sick a wrestling fan can be.
Or how stupid Vince in the WWE is.
He could have eliminated all that by just a 2 or 3 second delay.
Mm-hmm.
Before you show it, you got to say, oh, wait a minute. No, black this one out. Put a big X. But anyway.
Yeah. And then after that, they got angry and they said, these are pictures you're not allowed to have up. And they mentioned Chris Benoit and Jim Cornette was like, wow, they don't want my picture up there.
Gee, I wonder why, Jim. Like you ain't talk pure trash.
I listen to Jim Cornette, like religiously.
Right.
Just to hear, I love it when he gets on a tangent.
Oh, God.
Oh, my goodness. I need to ask what it was like for you and Velvet to work with Jim Cornette. I love the guy, I gotta say.
He was something else. That's about all I can say is he was another Piper, but not exactly Piper, because you never knew what was coming out of his mouth.
Nope.
You know?
Here's my tag team partner.
Hey, sweetheart.
It's my tag team partner, Skittles.
Hey, Skittles. He does not seem impressed at all.
You know what? Skittles is like, look, you're exploiting me for likes and hits on YouTube. I can't believe I fell for that again. You're my third interview today, and 2 out of 3, I got him.
Don't forget to give him his royalties.
Oh, he's up here his tail.
Oh, I see it.
I love my cat. He's my roommate, and he's freeloading. I'm the only one paying rent. I can't get him to get a job.
Right. You mean he doesn't catch mice?
Actually, you know what? I've had a few bugs in the apartment, and he'll sit there and stare at them. I'm like, really, Skittles?
At least, well, you're probably lucky he doesn't chase him, because last night Shadow, the gray pit bull,
yeah,
found a fly in the house,
and
he's all over the house going. And if you know, I did not have his tail docked. You know, he's got his long tail. Okay. So when he goes all over the house, it's like all three of us grab our drinks and hold him, because it's not what's going to go. It's not if something's going off the table or the counter. It's what's going on. But he was all over for 10 minutes last night looking for this damn fly.
Well, anyway, talk about working with Jim Cornette. Did you ever have to take the badminton racket to him? Tennis racket?
No. And there was only one time that I remember Jimmy, and it wasn't with Velvet and I, it was with Wendy Richter and I were going against each other, and Cornette was Wendy's manager. And then Wendy got a kiss ringside from Jim Duggan. I
saw that match.
Right.
Lucky Jim Duggan.
Right. That's the only time I can ever remember. I mean, there may be other times, but like I said, chair timers, you know, how many times I've been hit in the head with a chair.
Yeah. I know Jim has talked about, like, he hates the way comedy is done in wrestling. He said he's not against comedy. It's how it's presented, you know?
Absolutely correct.
Like he said, watching Kenny Omega beat up a blow-up doll or somebody wrestling the Invisible Man does not impress him.
No. And there's another guy who uses his private organ, and he's.
Oh, I saw that.
Is that the most disgusting thing you've ever seen?
I was so sad And even Jim Cornette commented on it. Why Mick Foley reduced himself to being flipped by this guy's dick.
Right.
I
No,
mean, Jim said he knows Mick Foley's a nice guy, wants to help somebody, but there comes a point.
where you have to say no.
Mm-hmm.
It's there's a certain time that your ego needs to step up and
Yeah,
say, no, I'm better than this.
absolutely. Oh my goodness. Yeah.
You let them try to, I mean, heck, Al Tomko tried to get Velvet Knight to wrestle in the mud. We almost killed him. Imagine what we'd have done if somebody had said, oh, we want this guy to dick flip you. No. Or what's the other guy who walks around with his hands in his pockets?
Oh, Orange Cassidy, or
Or
as Jim Cornette calls him, my little dog pockets.
right. Where is this crap coming from? And
Good
why are
question.
these people still in the ring? Why are they being booked? This is
That
not
is
wrestling.
This is what wrestling is becoming, you know? This is what wrestling is becoming. It's becoming a sideshow. I really like Alexa Bliss, but I don't like what they're doing with her right now. With
Right.
the whole thing, with the lights going down, and then her clothes are different or whatnot, or these theatrics are doing. I'm sorry, if you're in front of an audience, how do you pull that off? Like, it's like, cut
Oh,
the shit.
is she doing the quick change stuff? Why?
I
What?
guess because Vince likes it, I guess.
Yeah, but what's the reasoning behind it? You know, that's what's really wrong with wrestling. And not all promoters, not all territories. I know some independents that are going totally old school.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but there's no why factor. Why are you doing this? Why is it relevant to the story?
And you want me to tell you something else too? They got too many, and I think King Kong Bundy had said this before he passed. He said there's too many pay-per-views now. It used to be Royal Rumble in the winter, WrestleMania in the spring, SummerSlam in the summer, Survivor Series in the fall. And then you have your Saturday night's main event sprinkled in here and there in your house shows. Now it's like a pay-per-view, like every month or something like that. How do you like? There's no feuds.
Right,
Like, remember the Snuka Piper feud that went over a year, or
right.
Dusty Rhodes and Ric Flair that went over a year. They don't do that anymore.
Buddy Rose and Roddy Piper up here.
Mm-hmm.
You know, first they were partners, then Piper went babyface, Buddy stayed heel.
Mm-hmm.
That was over a year here,
Mm-hmm.
and that was on TV every Saturday here in the Pacific Northwest. There, like I said, there's no why. There's no why factor whatsoever.
Yep.
And if you don't have a why, if your fan doesn't know the why, how are you going to grab them and pull them into the story?
But
And the fans that I'm talking to, that's what they want. They're sick of this crap.
yeah.
They're sick of the Orange Cassidy. They're sick of the dick flips. You know, yes, they like lucha libre. Yes, they do like the Japan style wrestling,
Mm-hmm.
but they also want the old school wrestling. They want to see a headlock reversal into a hammerlock and a kick in the butt into the ropes and then monkey flip them over your head. They want to see that. They
Yeah.
miss it because basically what's happening now is their intelligence is being insulted.
Yep. And these people that are writing for Vince are trying to please Vince. And you know what that does.
Vince is not a fan of wrestling.
No.
You know, Vince, I'm not even sure Vince likes wrestling. You know, with what he's done with it over the last 15 years, I really think he hates wrestling and he's trying to destroy it. I mean, that's the only why he does what he does.
Mm-hmm.
But your fans are not idiots. Your fans are very intelligent, hardworking people who have taken money out of their wallet to bring their kids and their wife to the wrestling match. And they want intelligence. This stupid crap. It's time for it to go. It's not working anymore.
But Jim Cornette said that there's been spots like, and he got the fingers pointed at him about comedy and wrestling. He said about him wrestling Sonny or something, not Sonny. Who was it he wrestled? Baby Doll. And he said, yes, but the difference is I'm a manager. Of course I'm going to get humiliated, you know? I think he was talking about, I don't know whether it was a match with Baby Doll where it ended with Jim Cornette getting put in a diaper or something like that.
Oh, Jesus.
And Jim Cornette said the whole point is he's this stoogey manager. Of course he's you're going to humiliate the manager, but you got to know where to do it and when.
Right. Yeah. And it can't be every week. No. And it can't be something stupid like that every night. Mm-hmm. It's got to be, it still has to have the why factor. Why did they put a diaper on Jim Cornette? Because he's a fucking whiny crybaby. As a manager, that's why he had a diaper on. You know, it was set there to say something.
Were you and Velvet there for that one?
No, if we were, I don't remember. But no, I've heard about it. But knowing the character, knowing Jimmy Cornette, it's obvious why they put it. He's always whining. You know, leave something for the baby to do, Jimmy. Love you.
Yeah. Oh, Jim Cornette. Like I say, I listen to him so much. Sometimes if I'm in a bad mood to put myself in a good mood, I'll listen to that 20-minute rant he does on Vince Russo.
Oh, right?
I feel so much better afterwards.
Well, yeah. Jimmy has a way with that.
Oh yeah, I love Jim Cornette, but I'll tell you, he said that he has to work on his anger management.
He's 30 years too late.
He is doing. The fans managed to talk him into doing cameo now.
Oh, I'll bet you he's making good money doing that.
Well, I'm going to tell you, I'm thinking about this Christmas or something to get Jim Cornette to do a cameo to my younger brother. My younger brother's taking care of our terminally ill parents.
Oh, wow.
And I got, and to show my appreciation, I did a cameo where Ricky the Dragon Steamboat did an 8-minute cameo for my brother where he took him around, like virtually around the Dragon's Den.
Oh, nice.
And my brother never saw this coming. He says to me, he says, usually you give me shitty birthday presents, but this was awesome. Because he was a big Steamboat fan. And this year it was Jake the Snake. I had Jake do a cameo, but I'm thinking about this Christmas to have Jim Cornette do one for him, and I'm gonna get Jim Cornette to tell my brother what he would like to give Vince Russo for Christmas.
Perfect. Now you got to hide this from your brother so he has no clue.
Oh yeah, but this I definitely, if he's not too expensive, but there are some of them that are really expensive. And the
I've heard.
WWE getting in on that and taking a pay cut and this and that, and
right.
Yeah. But
well, you know that McMahon, Vinny, told his entire crew, you can't do the cameos. If you do, you're fired. You know, he doesn't want them making money third party. Either they make money with him or they don't make money at all.
I like how Jesse Ventura more or less flipped him off, so to speak, when it come to that.
Oh, yeah.
Jesse's another guy I have so much respect for.
Right. Well, that's him. Look, I don't mean to be, we've got people coming. It's July 4th. So I really need to kind of get downstairs with everybody else. Can we
We can wrap this up. We got to promote your book a little bit. How long did it take you to write that?
This book actually started in 1996. I started writing it in 1996. And it started out as not a wrestling book, but a book about my life, my childhood, and growing up.
Mm-hmm.
And then my sister Maury, she helped me put it in chronological order.
Mm-hmm.
And then I met John Cosper, who's my co-author. And he, after I'd been messing with somebody else trying to get this book published, 18 months later, he didn't even have one page for me to proofread. I call up Scott Teal, because that's who you call if you want a book.
Mm-hmm.
And Scott said, Vicki, I'm busy for the next 2 years, but here's 2 names. So I private messaged them both, and John was the first one who got back with me. He got back with me in October of last year, and March of this year, my book was published.
Mm-hmm.
And this is it.
Yeah, it's what I'm getting in the mail.
That's right, exactly. And it's called Princess Victoria, A Tale of Tears, Triumphs, and Turnbuckles.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's not just my wrestling career, it's about my childhood as well, because I feel like, you know, I'm a public figure, and as a public figure, if I speak out and I let people know there is a light at the end of the tunnel,
Mm-hmm.
although today may be really, really dark, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. Look what happened with me.
Yep. Oh, I
You
think you
know,
turned out well.
well, thank you, sir.
Yeah. Yeah.
There are some who would disagree.
You know what? Again, shout out to Velvet McIntyre. I'm so glad I discovered you because I do watch your matches. Who was it I watched you wrestle? I know I watched you wrestle Wendy Richter, but I loved it when you get your head into the turnbuckle and you sell that so well. Like you would just go back almost straight and you look like you got knocked out in it. They don't do
Well,
like that today.
no, it's this crap.
Yep.
It's not this crap. It's this crap.
Yep.
Really?
You know when Velvet's going to do a book?
No, I don't know if she's going to do a book. However,
Mm-hmm.
there is a very good possibility that once the Canadian borders open, there's a friend of mine, Nikki. He does the virtual signings and the, store signings.
Mm-hmm.
There is a very good possibility that Velvet and I may be together for the first time since I broke my neck in a signing in somewhere around Vancouver, BC. So keep your eyes open. As soon as they open the borders, it's in the works. I've already put Nikki in touch with Velvet because Velvet does not travel. Velvet does not fly. So since we can't get Velvet to come to us, we're going to go to Velvet.
And I can't possibly get her on the show, huh?
She can't hear. And she just, did you watch that? Did you see the video that I found of Piper's Pit with me and Velvet?
I did.
How much did she talk?
Not much.
Exactly. I
All,
was the mouth.
all I have to do is tell her that. All I have to do is hold my Iron Sheik figure up there, and she'll fall.
She'll die.
She'll fall in love with it. I just have to say, Jim Cornette loves you, and she'll be all giddy.
Uh-huh. She'll go, yeah, right.
I love you both as a tag team, and I love you both as a singles. And I wish they would do the figurines of you both.
Well, I'm going to try to find out what it's going to cost to get those made, because they've got to be made reasonable enough to be able to pass them off to the fans.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to have to sell a doll for $100.
No,
because I'm not going to sell any. I know I'm not that great, but I will look into that. I'm also going to look into that cameo, because you're not the first person who's told me about this cameo thing. So that could be, but like I said, y'all keep your eyes open. Remember, the book
Mm-hmm.
It's Princess Victoria, A Tale of Tears, Triumphs, and Turnbuckles. It's on Amazon. If you want it from me, go to my webpage on Facebook. I'll give you a personalized autograph. I'll send the book straight from here to you.
Mm-hmm.
You can get it on John Cosper's website, Eat, Sleep, and Rustle.
Mm-hmm.
And keep your eyes open, because I'm pretty sure this thing with Velvet and I is going to happen, but it's only going to happen once.
Why only once?
How many things that have happened only once are still remembered that are great? You gotta keep them wanting more. Now, Greg, you know that.
We got to get you, Velvet, and Jim Cornette.
How about me, Velvet, Judy Martin, and Leilani Kai, and Jim Cornette, and Wendy Richter? Now, that would be a crew.
Put Jim Cornette in the middle.
We'd kill him. You can see the only thing you'll see is this part of Jim's face, because we'll all have our hands like this.
Oh, we love Jim Cornette.
I do. I love him. Love him to death.
If you're talking to Velvet, you tell her I said hello.
Yes, sir, I will.
Yep. A huge fan of both of you, and love your work. I love your contribution to wrestling. I look forward to getting my package in the mail. I will do an unboxing video right on here, and I'll tag you on it.
There you go. Thank you.
Yep. And this right now on YouTube will be unlisted until I decide to put it public.
Yes, sir.
But you will have permission when I'll probably do it up and send it to you, probably tonight. You have my permission to put it up before I put it public.
Okay.
Yep, you have my
I don't
permission.
know if I'll get to it tonight. Like I said, we got company coming. There's shrimp, potato salad, deviled eggs,
shrimp,
hamburgers, shrimp.
You mean Jim Cornette showing up?
Very nice. Very nice. But no, they got all this food downstairs, and my stomach's going, I'm hungry, as Wendy would say.
Hungry. Well,
yeah, she was never hungry. She was hungry.
Well, you know what? I still watch you guys wrestle. Thank goodness YouTube's got all this back catalog, and I never get bored watching you and Velvet in the ring. Or any of you, you know?
They're great ladies, all of them. I said it 1,000 times. I miss being on the road with those ladies. That it was never a dull moment, you know?
I'm gonna have to get some of them on the show here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want me to hit up Leilani and Judy?
Yeah.
I'll send them your webpage.
Absolutely. Yeah. Sure. I'd be delighted.
I don't mind helping you out, Greg. This is my 3rd time here. Of course I'll help you out.
Well,
I want to see my girls out there.
Absolutely. Well, you know what? Next year I plan to have you back.
Yes, sir.
And we'll see if your opinion on Vince McMahon has changed any.
Okay. I don't think there's enough liquor for that to happen.
And when you go to bed tonight, try your hardest not to sleepwalk and throw darts at the Hogan poster.
I'm telling you, if Tex was not a good friend, that thing, I'd have fed it to my dogs. I swear to God.
Why doesn't he have a Piper poster up there? What's wrong with him?
Well, I do. Now, on contrast, over here on the left-hand side, I've got The Rock.
Okay.
So, there's a little bit of comfort in here beside the monster on the hall.
I even prefer Ultimate Warrior over Hogan.
Wow. Damn, I don't even think I went that
far. Anyway, I'm going to let you get to your 4th of July. Happy 4th of July to you.
Thank you. You too.
Yes. Thank you so much for blessing me with your presence again. And we'll be in touch. Love you. Absolutely. And so does Jim Cornette.
I know he does.
And so does the Iron Sheik.
Now you've gone a little far. right. You have a happy 4th of July. Thank you
Ab-
for having me on again, Greg. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. You're always welcome here. God bless you, and you have yourself a wonderful day.
Yep, going to get that potato salad and deviled eggs right now.
If you take pictures of it and send it to Scotty McCoy, Scotty loves taking pictures of his meals.
So does Harley Lewis, but Harley Lewis eats some really weird things, like spaghetti-o pizza.
Oh my goodness.
Yes. Good night,
Have a
Greg.
wonderful day. Yep.
You too, dear.
Bye bye.
Bye.